What is up, everybody? Attorney AB3 here on a very windy, although it's subsided now, January the 8th. A lot of fires going on right now. I was kind of surprised because a nephew from Singapore texted me, friend from undergrad and who lives in Bangkok texting me, am I okay? Yeah, I'm fine. And you? But yeah, now I'm kind of leaving my home and I'm noticing, you can see in the distance, maybe on the camera, slightly off to the right, large plumes of smoke. That looks fresh, so that's probably a newer fire. This is all mostly down towards Malibu and the Palisades, and the fire is also now starting over in Thousand Oaks. In this area called West Hills, immediately to my left, or pardon me, my right now, that whole hill was on fire 5 or 6 years ago. This whole area had to get hardcore evacuated to the point of everybody thought they'd lose their home. Unfortunately, now years later, that's made everybody's home insurance, go up crazy amounts because of that near miss last time. But in any event, it's kind of an interesting time. This happens every some years here in LA. So anyway, when it comes to that, it makes me want to segue there. You can see in the fire ahead of me. It kind of makes me want to talk about insurance and getting properly covered. Again, I'm not an insurance broker. I am an attorney, but I'm only speaking more as a layman here. And you should always, don't skimp too much. We all want to save some money, and yeah, insurances have gone for car, home, whatever, has gone up a lot. For certain things, I would recommend not cutting corners, because something about the universe, whenever you kind of cut off one of the coverages, that's the exact thing you need. Well, you can really see the smoke now, so if you look ahead to the right, some of that's clouds, but then the grayer part to the lower part's smoke. Insurance is one of those things we wish we didn't have to pay, because you don't actually benefit from it day to day. It's always the what ifs. And you wouldn't believe how many times I've seen cases where their insurance lapse for one single day because they didn't pay on time or what have you. And that is that day, that window of 24 hours is that one time they get in a car accident. And all hell is unleashed. And they're like, well, can I quickly pay it now? And no, unfortunately, insurance companies aren't going to retroactively, let you tap into your insurance when it wasn't paid. They're looking for a reason. What the hell is this guy doing? This minivan is driving the wrong direction. Oh, I love this place. Now he's swerved back into... Oh my god. Anyhow, that's why I love having this little show for you guys. It picks up all the craziness. So this Honda Odyssey now behind me decided to drive... Looked like he was going to turn left into a driveway of a store, and now he's instead of turning driveway, he just started driving straight into oncoming traffic. Wonderful. In any event, yeah, it's always good to make sure your insurances are up to date and make sure you're paying it on time. One thing I see happen a lot is people have auto pay, and I don't know if something bounces, they don't have enough funds in an account one day, and lo and behold, they lose coverage because the payment didn't process, and that is when the accident happened. So please, if you have a calendar or a day planner or whatever you use, let that be one of the most important things that you make sure your payments go through for. Other things, you might get reminders. Certainly insurance, you'll get a reminder too, but it might be too late. So try to avoid those lapses in coverage. And I bring that up because now with all these fires and structures burning down, of course, the homes that are burning down are the ones in, Malibu and Palisades, which are really the big ones, right? These are the multi-million dollar homes. The homes themselves aren't necessarily multi-million dollar structures themselves, but the location, of course, makes it harder to build and reconstruct as well. So, part of me is thinking, well, with all these fires, what's going to happen with home insurance prices, even in my area, because those kind of affect the whole state. A lot of insurance carriers have stopped in the last couple of years, even insuring homes in California altogether. So it's just become a real nuisance, and the state of California has had to get involved with providing supplemental insurance to people, because some carriers didn't want to. They would do the homeowner's insurance, like the contents and whatnot, but they wouldn't insure for fire. And you can't totally blame insurance companies, because of all the big fires that happened over the last 7 years, 10 years. It's just not possible. All you need is one big event, which seems to happen somewhat frequently, and the insurance company would just be wiped out. So it's been tricky. So that's me rambling on a little bit. Important thing, when you get to a stoplight, this guy's going through, shouldn't. When you have a four-way flasher like this, it's all red because there's probably some issue with the light, maybe because of the electricity going out or whatever. You have to stop. Red means stop no matter what. So when it's a flash cycle like that, because of something's wrong with the system, you're supposed to come to a stop and treat it like a four-way stop sign, where anybody who's there before you stop is supposed to wait. Sorry, anybody that's there before you has the right of way to go. So you have to wait for them to go, and then you go. Unfortunately, that doesn't usually happen, especially in other areas of town where everybody's in a rush. That lady, by the way, didn't. Lots of accidents can happen that way. So be diligent, come to a stop, and then go. So that's it. Now we're heading into Woodland Hills. Things are going to be a little bit quieter today. Schools are letting out early, from what I understand. And some schools are closed altogether. I'm sure everything will be fine in these areas. There's a mistake that lady made, the one turning left in front of me. She decided to start proceeding left in front of me before checking that the intersection was clear, and there was a car turning right, a car in front of me turning right, and she had to stop executing her left turn, waiting for him to finish his right turn in front of me, which is why it's very important always to make sure that the lanes you're turning into are completely clear before you start executing, because that could have been an instance if that car had stopped. She would have had to stop completely, and I would have had to hit my brakes. And that's another incident of, for example, the left-hand turn accident, where the left-hand turner stops prematurely, and the oncoming traffic, which would have been me, crashes into them, and then it's who's at fault, who's more at fault than the other person, etc. Here's another example. Power's out, it looks like. So there's not even a four-way flash. So that's another example where if there is no power on, and there's no light at all, not even the red one, the prudent thing to do is to still come to a stop and treat it as though there is a four-way or a flash cycle on the red.